Hey, what's up everybody? Tony with Lido Loca. Look, I've been getting a lot of articles sent to me, a lot of questions about cruise line refunds. I think there's one significant gotcha when it comes to these cruise line refunds that I don't think everybody's picking up on based on what I've been reading. So I thought I'd spend a few moments today talking about cruise line refunds, talking about future cruise credit, and I'm really going to talk about when you should book your next cruise. I'm going to give you some of my opinions on that. So buckle up. Hanging out here, early morning, isolation. Let's talk cruise refunds. Yeah, so the article I've been getting sent is an article from the LA Times where a gentleman is complaining that he's not able to get a refund for a cruise that has yet to be canceled. This is the dirty little secret when it comes to cruise refunds. You are not going to get refunded your cruise unless that cruise cancels. So you see the cruise lines, they're shutting down incrementally a month at a time. And so right now the major cruise lines closed until sometime in May. And so you have people that have cruises in later May, cruises in June, cruises in July saying, I would like to cancel my cruise and I'd like to get myself a refund. And they're super disappointed, super shocked when that's not a reality. So yeah, that's the way the system works. Unfortunately, that is the way that the system works. You can cancel that cruise that's in the future that the cruise line hasn't canceled yet, but the best you're gonna do, the best you're gonna get is future cruise credit. So if you're canceling a cruise that's in June and the cruise line hasn't extended their shutdown into June, most of the cruise lines right now are being very flexible. This was not the case before the crisis. They're being very flexible, saying maybe even up to 2 days before your cruise, you can cancel and get a 100% future cruise credit that you can apply to another cruise. But if they haven't canceled the cruise yet, they're not offering you any money back. So if you're out there and you're money conscious, if you're refund conscious, if you want the money back for the cruise, you've got to wait until the cruise line cancels that cruise. I don't think everybody understands that. I think people just see, oh, things are canceling, I should be able to get my money back. So right now, the only money that you can get back is if your cruise was just affected by the things that were in May. So if you had an April cruise, if you had an early May cruise, depending on the cruise line, that's the time where you can raise your hand and say, send me back my money. But for those cruises that are late May, June, July, you can't get your money back. And so go in, set your expectations for that, because it's going to fall on deaf ears. I've heard people say, oh, I've been on hold trying to get, unless you have cancel anytime insurance, unless you bought that, and I think you probably had to have bought that before the whole crisis was declared, you're just not going to get your money back. You've got to kind of play the waiting game and wait for the cruise to cancel. We're in the same boat. We have a cruise booked in June going from Vancouver to Alaska. Now, if you follow the news at all, you know that Alaska has, If you follow the news at all, you know that Canada has closed its ports to cruise ships that are 500 people or larger. That's crew and passenger. And so unless Canada, and that's till July the 1st, unless Canada, something drastically happens and they open those cruise ports up, which there's no indication that they would, then my cruise that's happening in June from Vancouver should be canceled. Now, there's things that could happen. The cruise line could build a whole new itinerary. Of course, I don't know which cruise port they would go out of, because up and down the east and west coast, those northern ports are shut down for almost the same period of time as Canada. But in reality, the cruise line, because when you sign your cruise contract, when you make a deposit on a cruise, you're allowing them to change the itinerary. They could say something like, okay, well, now we have a cruise going from, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what would be extreme. Maybe from Los Angeles, Long Beach. I don't even know that cruise port is open. But in reality, until they cancel that cruise, they could say anything. They could say, look, we're changing the itinerary. You have to go over there. If and if not, you might not get your money back, or you could take advantage of this, cancel your cruise and just get future cruise credit. I don't have direct access to my money at this point. Now, what I think is going to happen is, as this goes on, I think the June cruises will be canceled. And then at that time, I can choose whether to take a future cruise credit deal, whatever the deal is. Maybe there's onboard credit, or I can just ask for my money back. But until that time, I'm out of luck. That's just the way that the system is set up. So we are just 2 days beyond when a bunch of cruises were canceled again. And so a lot of things that people are struggling with right now is, do I take the future cruise credit, book another cruise, or do I take the money? Again, if you know that you're going to cruise, if you have confidence that the cruising will start up again, future cruise credit usually makes the most sense because you're getting more for what you paid for. But the one caution I would do there is I would say, look, if your cruise got canceled in April, don't book a cruise at the end of May. Even if your cruise in May gets canceled, don't book a cruise in June. I've seen several people doing that, and obviously you can do what you want to with your money, but I don't think this thing's opening back up. This is just my opinion. I don't have any inside information, but if I was getting a cruise canceled today, so say my June cruise cancels and we decide, we may decide to take the money, right? Money could be a premium at that point, depending how long the shutdown continues. We might want that money back. But if we're not in a place where we want that money back and we want to use it as a future cruise credit, I'm not booking anything. You know, if June cancels, I'm not booking into July. I don't even know that I would book into August. I think for me, in my mind, I feel like cruising is going to start again in October. It may start before that, but here's the hurdles that you're going to run into. Many ports are closed down. Many ports are not accepting cruise passengers. Of course, many ports aren't even letting, you know, cruising's turned off, right? So to turn it back on, you got to have a lot of things back in place. You got to have air travel back up. You got to have this domestic travel advisory gone. You got to have ports that are going to take cruise ships, because the last thing that you want to do is jump on a cruise ship and then all of a sudden be nowhere to go and now be stuck on a cruise ship. It could happen because you need it all to be opened up again before you cruise again. And so, look, we're cruisers. We make our living off of the cruise industry. We want it to be good, but I would feel remiss if I didn't tell you I would hold off. I would wait until October to possibly book a cruise at this point in time. Now, hopefully people understand that this is a fluid situation, and how I feel about things have changed as I continue to get more data, as things change. So something drastic could happen in the next couple months and it would change my opinion. But as we sit here, April the 1st, 2020, if I was getting a cruise canceled in April, a cruise canceled in May, a cruise canceled in June, I would wait until the fall. I would wait until at least, you know, September, October before I would even think about going on another cruise, because it seems like it's going to take a while for all this stuff to right itself. So that's my thought. I would wait. I would not be looking to book a cruise straight away. Many people are going to rebook their cruise. Many people are going to take a refund. The other thing to know about refunds is they're not automatic. They don't happen in the blink of an eye. Some cruise lines are saying it may take 30 days, it may take 90 days to get your refund back to you. So you've got to have that expectation. There is cancellations all over the place, all kinds of travel. And so it's a process. You just got to, if you call in yourself, make sure you document who you talk to, make sure you get your case number, whatever kind of identifying information, because there is a lot going on. People are human, mistakes can happen. So you want to make sure that you cover yourself when you're talking to the cruise line. Make sure you get all the information. Make sure you understand whether you're getting a refund, whether you're getting future cruise credit, how that is applied. You have to do some due diligence. It's one of the bad byproducts of what's going on. What usually is kind of easy, happy-go-lucky, just book some stuff, just change some stuff around. There's an intensity as it all ramps up in volume, and you want to make sure that your money doesn't get lost or your future cruise credit doesn't get lost. So make sure that you document. I mentioned it earlier, we do work with the cruise lines. My wife Jenny is a really good travel agent, and she has a lot of experience already working with these future cruise credits, cruise cancellations. It doesn't cost anything to use a travel agent. So if you need some help rebooking your cruise, if you need some help just trying to figure out what's going on, you can send Jenny an email at jbarnett@cruiseshipcenters.com. She would be happy to help you with your future cruise credit. Again, the cool thing about using a travel agent is you get their expertise for zero cost. And man, I tell you what, over these last few cycles, Jenny has canceled, rebooked, used future cruise credits on a lot of cruises. And she's super knowledgeable. She can answer questions. It's a stressful time for a lot of people. The cruise lines, I don't believe they're out there trying to screw people over, but they, at the same time, businesses have policies, they have processes in place to keep their business viable. And I think that we would all get that. I know there's a good segment of the population that's ready to poo-poo all things cruising, but at the same time, people that are, you know, enjoy cruising like many of us out there do. You've got to take that with a grain of salt. I understand the policy's not that exciting, that, you know, if you have a cruise book 3 months from now, it would be great if you could just call up and say, give me a refund. It's not the way it's going to work. I don't think it matters how many articles are being written about it, how many people are complaining. It's a pretty straightforward policy. You basically have to wait till the cruise line cancels your cruise if you want to get a full monetary cash refund. Again, they're giving you a lot of flexibility right now to cancel, get future cruise credit. But if you're thinking about the money and your cruise hasn't been canceled yet, you just have to wait it out, wait for them to cancel your cruise, and then start that refund process. I hope that makes sense. Again, I don't know all the ins and outs. I've offered some opinion. I've offered some things that I know for sure, but I know that you guys know a lot out there also. Let's jump down into the comments. Let's have a conversation and help each other out. Have you canceled a cruise lately? Have you worked on getting a refund? What's some of the things that you're seeing? Thank you so much for stopping by. This is Tony with Lido Loca, and until the next time, we'll see you on the Lido. Bye.